Hey, hi everyone, welcome back to once again. So today we are going to learn the container and virtualization. We will understand what is a container and what is virtualization. Then after we go ahead to compare between the container and virtualization. So let's start. So also if I ask the question what is a container and what is the virtualization, what come in your mind? The first thing it should become in your mind uh, that is both are the technology. Okay, both are the technology. What this technology provided? This technology is provided isolated environment, means isolated environment. What it mean isolated environment? So let's example, suppose your application running inside container or virtual machine. Let's say example v1. Okay, and you have another application, for example x1. Okay, so this is your container, or you can say this is your container or virtual machine, and this is your container and virtual machine. So both are running isolated environment. It means it having a same operating, it having different operating system, different hardware resources, and it having the different operating system and different hardware resources. Okay, that is called isolated environment. So container and virtualization both are the technology used to provide a different used to provide uh, to running your application in isolated environment. So uh, so we are going to understand first what is the virtualization. So what is virtualization? So for that uh, I want to show this diagram first, so we will discuss. So here you can see there is a multiple layers. There is a hardware layer, there is a hypervisor, there is a guest operating system, then your application and binaries. So let's start. This is, for example, this is your local environment. Let's consider, and you want to run multiple operating system. Okay, so this is consider. Please, you can consider this is Ubuntu you want to run, and this operating system you want to run, for example, Windows, and this operating system you want to run, for example, um, Red Hat. Okay, and you want to run the multiple application in your local or all or server. So for that you require the hypervisor. So what is the hypervisor here? Okay, so hypervisor provide the environment to segregated resources. It segregated resources uh, to multiple virtual machines. So it allocated some resources this operating system, this allocated resources to this operating system, and this allocated to this operating system. So without hypervisor you can't run the multiple, you can not virtualize your local or servers. So there is a need hypervisor. A hypervisor always run top of the operating system. Okay, so the flow should be the hardware, then hypervisor, then your operating system, then your guest operating system, then your application running, and these all these VM running in isolated environment. Okay, it's mean it's having its own operating system and its own hardwares. So that is your virtualization. So I wrote it down some points here, so let's see one by one. Okay, the first point we already discussed. If you want to run virtual machine, if you want to create a um, virtual machine in your local, so you require the physical resources such as server, storage device. Okay, so Second point, virtualization allow the multiple virtual machines. So here is you can run the multiple system to run on a single physical on a single physical host, or your it mean physical host, maybe your server or your local operating system, your desktop or laptop, anything. Okay. And we already discussed each having its own operating system, each virtual machine having its own operating system. Okay. So third one, to run the multiple virtual machine in your single system, you require the some software like as VMware, uh, Zen server, Microsoft hypervisor, or VirtualBox. With the help of these applications, you can run the multiple virtual machine in a single uh, physical server, or a physical server or laptop or desktop. So this is your virtualization. Let's come into container. So as compared to um, virtualizations, you can see there is no layer of the hypervisor. It is an operating system. Okay. And if you want to run a container or build a container in your local system, this is, let's consider as as previous example, this is your local system. This is your local system, and you want to build multiple containers in your physical system. So there is a hardware, and then after your operating system, but there is a one application or one container engine you required. Okay, it may be your Docker or Rocket D or Container D. Okay, these are the application with the help of you can create your containers. So if you see the what is the main difference between the container and virtualization, that is container virtualize you are operating system level, and virtual you are virtual machine hardware level. Okay, so that's why container is a very lightweight, it's not using the entire operating system. So this is your container architecture, and if you want to run your multiple container in your physical server or physical system or system, so you need the container engine, that is Docker container. With the help of you can build a number of container. So this is a container, and I wrote it down some points as here. I wrote it as some points regarding for the container, which we already discussed. The first point, container on the other hands are a lightweight alternative to virtualization. So I already told, because of container does not use the internal operating system, so that's why it's very lightweight. Instead of creating the full virtual machine, container allow you to package up an application and its dependency into a single. So just focus, instead of means it does not creating the entire virtual machine, it's just using some portion of your operating system and build a package, your package of your application and its dependency into a single container image that can run on any system. So here that is also big advantage, you can run your container in any platform or system. And third one, container share the operating system kernel. Yeah, we already discussed, and which makes them store efficient and portable. This is also main advantage of container, it is a portable, you can run in any system or in any system. So that's it, container virtualization. So we already covered the most of the points. Let's come into what is the difference between the container and virtualization. So here I wrote here is the some differences differences, but I am not going to explain each and every one because we already discussed. I'm just highlighting. This is a lightweight because of it does not using the entire operating system, so it is already mentioned in the second points. So as compared to virtualization, it's not using the entire operating system, so that's why it's very lightweight. Whereas compared to virtualization, it's need dedicated operating system. Okay, so that's why it's more resource sensitive. The third one, we already covered share operating system and kernel because it's not using the entire operating system, so that's why it's very lightweight. And if you see here, each machine has its own operating system and resources, so that's why it's very a very more that's why it's more resource sensitive. Coming to the third point, the portable can run on any system with a compatible container runtime. Okay, so once you build your container, so you can run in any system. The condition that the system should be run the some container runtime applications. So with the help of you can run your container in any system. Whereas compared to the virtualization, required specific hardware and software for virtual machine to run. So you can't make it portable because it's need depending it's required a specific hardware and software, so that's why you cannot move it to one system to another. Coming to the fourth point, this is a main point. Isolate application from one another but sharing the same underlying operating system. Okay, so just focus that word operating system. Isolated virtual machine from one another. Isolated virtual machine from one another, but all sharing the same underlying hardware. So I already covered this point. Or container isolated consolidate provide the isolated environment operating system level, and virtualize provide isolated environment hardware level. So this is the difference between the container and virtualization. And coming to the last one, this is a not uh, this is a good for modern and cloud native applications. So this is a not main reasons. Yeah, so once your container built or you want to be managed with the help of some other tools like as Kubernetes, Docker, so on, so you can build your container and run your container in Kubernetes environment, Docker, so on. So that's they can manage your container applications. And coming to the virtualization, so it depend upon good for legacy application running multiple operating system on the same physical machine, or for sensitive workload. So it depend upon the your workload or your project requirement. Okay, which environment you want to run your applications. So so that is different between the container and virtualization. So I hope you understood. So I I hope you understood. So if you any concern, you can comment to me in the comment box. And you, if you any question regarding for anything, you can ask me directly in the comment box. So I will try to give the answer. So let's meet for the next video. Till the time, thank you. Bye.